Okay, I'm hitting record. I can't talk today. It's 12 o'clock Tuesday,
Top of the
September
hour
1st. I can't believe we're in
already.
September. Yeah.
That's
Where
just
did August go?
oh man,
Yeah. Fall. I
pretty
even saw
wild.
some leaves actually
I saw
on the
that too.
ground. Yeah, a little too aggressively like changing. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, I averted my eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And
thanks for joining us. I believe Wyatt is going to join us at some point because we're going to be doing a demo. In fact, let me see. Yeah, if Michelle, could you just ping Wyatt?
Sure.
I know he acknowledged it, but so what we're going to try to do is every week do 10, 15 minutes max demo on something. And today we're going to talk about 1Password and specifically how to use 1Password as a two-factor authentication app or multi-factor or one-time password. Those are all the names that are kind of thrown around and similar enough. There are some slight differences, but similar enough that you can just make them ubiquitous. I wish we could all just agree on one name because
that would
every
help.
time I give someone instructions, I try to match the instructions to what they're doing, but it can be a challenge because of the different names: two-factor, multi-factor, one-time password. Those are all pretty much the same. So we'll be talking about that, and I see Wyatt did join us.
There he
And
is.
then we're
Hey,
also
Wyatt.
going to talk about, hey Wyatt, we're going to talk about DMARC and why DMARC is important and becoming increasingly more important, and how you can verify if you have DMARC or not. And what to do about it if you don't, and if you do have it, how it needs some care and maintenance. So since Wyatt is here, Wyatt, are you ready to do the demo? I thought we would start with the 1Password demo. Or do you need more time? Or do you need to unmute yourself? Yeah.
He's muted.
You need more time? Okay.
We could, yeah, if that's okay.
Okay.
That's okay, man.
Get ready.
That's
We'll,
all right.
we'll
Take
do
your time.
DMARC.
Yeah.
And
we're flexible.
Chad, also with DMARC, we know we could spend a full day on this. So we're going to limit ourselves to just why. First of all, what the hell is DMARC?
What the heck is this? Yeah. What does that mean? DMARC is just, it's a cool acronym because it's like the word demarcation, right? DMARC is short for demarcation. And what that means is delineating or separating things, making sure that one thing is one thing and another thing is another thing, so we don't get things confused. DMARC is a great thing to call that for email because it uses some verification methods to make sure that only the authorized email servers are sending email on your behalf of your brand, for example, right? So your name, your domain, whatever you're at, whatever.com. If you're Lassie at greatdogs.com, you can be sure that anytime you send an email to someone from Lassie at greatdogs.com, that there's some things DMARC, if you have DMARC in place and you've taken the time, there's only one side. There's a lot of upsides to DMARC. The downside to DMARC is, there's three main reasons why you want to have DMARC, right? To ensure that people can trust your emails, right? Because criminals are really good at using brands that we know and love and tend to trust against us, right? So, and that doesn't necessarily has to be huge like the Gap and Mercedes, but it can be personal, local, hyper-local brands, right? So when we say brand, it's not necessarily, just Fortune 50. We're talking about everybody, right? So your brand, your reputation, think of brand as your reputation, right? You want to protect your reputation. Right. So if you want to protect your brand, you want to protect your reputation, DMARC's a great thing to do because it prevents a lot of things, situations like if you get blacklisted, right? If your domain gets taken over, if you have somebody who starts sending email to everybody, phishing everybody from an email on your domain, you can get blacklisted on the internet. And then you have to buy a new domain. There's really not a clear path to solve for that. It's really not something a position anybody wants to be in. So DMARC can prevent that. It can also prevent a lot of what we call whaling or, C-level fraud. So like leadership fraud, right? Which is to say that people that are high up in a company tend to be more frequently targeted because of their decision-making power, right? And so all these kinds of attacks are bundled together, sometimes in, multiple chains, to get folks with decision-making power to fall for something or click on something. DMARC can
Mhm.
help lower all of those risks. The only downside, these are great things, right? Anybody and their Aunt Jane would do this, right? Everybody. The only downside is it takes a lot of time to get it just right, Ben?
That's right. You can't just turn it on and expect it to work. And in fact, I wanted to ask you about that, Chad. Do all email systems honor DMARC, or is
Nope.
it still kind of
No.
a hit or miss?
It's hit or miss, and for a lot of reasons. Some of them have some merit. Most of them don't. Most of the reasons folks don't have this in places they haven't heard of it. It's been around for a long time. Like, this isn't a new technology, but it is complex, and so that tends to, the curve tends to lower adoption speed, right?
Yeah, and so I went to our support site, support.forgetcomputers.com. I did a search for DMARC. We do have a few articles here about DMARC, starting with SPF, which is the one that I think I knew about first years ago, SPF records, and that was kind of a default that I think everyone needs to have today. And then more recently, DKIM and DMARC, which I think work together. We're not going to go into all the details of what that means,
Not
but
today.
the point is, in my understanding from a very high level, is that if you have a DMARC record, you're pretty much telling the email world that you own this domain or a number of domains,
And you care about it.
and you've authorized certain third parties to send on your behalf. And if anything outside of what you've authorized tries to use your domain for email, then it's going to get flagged. And in some email systems, it will get completely blocked. In other email systems, it will get flagged. In yet others, it will be completely ignored. But this not only allows you to be your email to be more deliverable, because there's really no downside other than a poorly constructed DMARC record could be bad. It allows you to be more deliverable, and it also allows you to stop the phishing emails that impersonate your domain. Right? It's not going to stop, Chad Calise, the name Chad Calise, using a different domain that's not yours. Someone can still spoof your name, but they're not going to be able to spoof your domain name. Correct?
Right. Well, there's two, right? The reply to trick, right? That's the oldest trick in the book. DMARC can't do much about that, right? So if I put in my name tag field, right, my name, I say I'm Ben Greiner, but I'm emailing you from blah, 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 blah at gmail.com, right? We still have to, as human, frontline defenses, still have to look sharp and be able to catch those, right? If there was a silver bullet, we'd certainly use it. But DMARC eliminates the true spoofing. The thing that most companies are dealing with is they're getting legitimate emails from their domain, from legit users and users that don't exist. And DMARC can just eliminate that altogether. And that's a pretty good start.
Yeah.
For sure.
So let's talk about so we know DMARC is important, and we'll talk a little bit more about how you, not exactly how you set that up, because the challenge with DMARC is if it's not set up correctly, you will make things worse rather than better, right?
Oh,
Because you're basically restricting.
You'll miss legitimate email. You'll block. Legitimate email will get blocked. So it takes about 3 to 4 months to do all the tests and go through the checklist to get it really working the way everyone needs it to.
Yeah, and I think that's why the adoption has been relatively slow. But the process to adopt it is pretty straightforward and safe. You configure it, you turn it on, but you don't enforce it, meaning you see what comes through and what gets tagged. And once you
Gradually,
identify
more and more,
that things are working, and you make adjustments. And typically what we find out is we ask a client, who sends on your behalf. A good example is an email newsletter service that will send, maybe MailChimp sends newsletters on your behalf. Well, you have to put MailChimp in the DMARC record to allow that to happen. And typically what happens is we'll talk to a client, we'll say, we're going to work on DMARC, tell us everything you know about how you send email. They'll share that with us, but they won't capture everything because they don't know about that one team or that one department that's using that one service that they either just didn't know about or they forgot about. So that's
It's
where
pretty common.
during that process, you discover that, and then you make those adjustments. And then once you're confident things are working, then you turn it on and you activate it. Now, the one other thing to be prepared for, because we ran into this, is we needed to sort of on the fly get a two-factor authentication email to an account, but we had to use a different domain. I won't go into why, but it had to do with Apple IDs. It was very complex. We had to use a different domain. Well, we own that domain, but we had not configured the DMARC to allow certain pings to it, or we basically had to go in and make edits to our DMARC because we were making edits to what we were sending, how we were using our email. So basically, the point is, once DMARC is in place and locked down and working, if you make any changes to your email, you're going to have to revisit that DMARC record. And that's why it's both, we're encouraging you to do it, but we're encouraging you to do it with our assistance. We're not saying just go out and turn on DMARC. We're saying, let us help you turn on DMARC. And I want to talk about this article we just added that says, do you have a DMARC record? And there are other places you can go to find this out. This is just one that I thought was nice and clean and easy. And
it really is,
if we go here and we put in forgetcomputers.com, there it is, and I say check, it's going to do a check, and it's going to tell us all about our DMARC record. And I'm not going to go into what all of this means, and we may continue to make edits to our DMARC record based on it if we make changes to our email. But if you put your domain in here, you should either see that you have a DMARC record, which may or may not be complete. It's not going to tell you if it's good or not. It's just going to tell you if you have one. Or you're going to get, I think I have it here, you're going to get this DMARC record not found. If you have that, you clearly don't have DMARC if you see this, and I would recommend contacting us, especially if you're a client, so we can talk about getting DMARC set up, working with you to get DMARC set up. Because once again, Chad and I can't just turn this on and say, yeah, it looks good, let's go with it. We need your cooperation in determining if we've captured it all correctly.
Another consideration is, we have clients who are starting to ask their clients about this, and what is the value in that? Would you think? There's value in all of us, informing each other, right? Because if I'm working with someone, if I'm an entity, maybe I'm a retail entity, and maybe I'm working with another entity, maybe it's a B2B relationship, maybe it's a business to consumer relationship. In any case, right, we would want to have DMARC in place, maybe not at the consumer level, right? Because consumers don't have domains, most of them, but a business to business, right? Anybody that my business is working with, I would like to tell them, because then I don't have to worry about sifting through their, bogus emails that are trying to trick me. So it really has, it's a two-way street. And so if you're working with partners that you've had phishing issues with in the past, or you've had any kinds of, confusing, perhaps privacy or security related things, let them know about DMARC too, because it can help everybody.
Yeah, right. If we all had DMARC, we would have a lot fewer email issues.
It would be a different internet, yeah, for sure.
If we all had self-driving cars, we would never have accidents, right? But
right. Occasionally, right?
Be a lot less. Be a lot less.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's DMARC, and we did it. We did it, Chad. It's 12:14. We kept it 15 minutes.
Pretty good.
This is working really well. This is our new format.
Nice.
I'm sure we'll
it.
break that rule next week. But
yeah, that's okay.
So Wyatt, are you ready to talk about 1Password? Yeah. Once again, we're not going to go into a lot of detail here, but we want to introduce Wyatt. I'll stop sharing so you can take it over. We use 1Password. We're big proponents of 1Password. We really want to see our clients using a password manager, some type of password manager, something other than sticky notes on your computer screen. That's not a password manager.
That's better than, as long as now it's probably better to do sticky notes than ever, because we're not, at home. We're at home, and there's less that, the threat models have changed. But I think it's interesting to think about it from the context of, minimizing the complexity, right? Like making our workflows friendlier. And
Mhm.
I can't tell you, I mean, sure, using a password manager is pretty awesome for security, but I can't tell you the amount of time it saves me.
Mhm.
I mean, that's the real value in it, is just blazing through websites much more quickly than, and the worst case, and hopefully this isn't true for anyone, is reuse of passwords.
Mhm.
Right. I mean, I think that's the biggest danger to most people out there right now, is if they've reused, they have maybe 1 or 2 or 3 passwords total
Yeah.
that they use for everything. That's really makes things pretty easy for criminals.
Yeah. So we love 1Password, and 1Password does something that maybe a lot of people don't know, and that is it can be an authenticator app for one-time passwords, for multi-factor, for two-factor. I am a little
Whatever you want to call it.
disappointed in the ease of use in this particular feature. Like 1Password's great, but I don't quite understand why they can't make it just a little bit easier. Then that's why we're going to do a demo. Hopefully, is that right, Wyatt? We set to
That's
a demo.
right. Yeah,
Okay.
I was going to demo through the Zoom account I created when we did our 1Password live stream. However, it appears as though Zoom will not allow me to do two-factor without a paid account. So
Oh, okay.
I'll go ahead and so what I've done is I've found an old Gmail address of mine that didn't have two-factor enabled on it, so we'll do it through that one.
Okay, great, great.
Basically, what I'd like to share
Yeah.
with folks today is how to. So with two-factor, multi-factor, I think we said at the top that there's a lot of different terms and they're all the same thing.
Mhm.
You know, some of us already have like Google Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator, those applications where you scan a QR code and that generates generally a 6-digit code for you to enter. With 1Password now, that's built in so that you don't have to have that extra application. And Chad, correct me if I'm wrong, would you say that it is more secure to use multi-factor with the QR code versus, say, a text message or an email two-factor code?
Well, using two-factor at all versus using a password is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exponentially, going to reduce the kinds of most common things that certainly that I hear when I get the phone call or it's somebody's worst day of their life. Now, to get into the different kinds of two-factor authentication, there are some inherent challenges with some, particularly SMS, or text, because of SIM swapping attacks where someone can take control of our mobile number and then intercept those codes. And we've had clients who we have, unfortunately walked through recovering from those processes, then those kinds of attacks. So that's the reason that, using an Authy or, some app, even Google Authenticator, is better, because then if I lose my phone, for example, sometimes it's best to talk about these in real life kind of scenarios. If I lose my phone and something's happening, I got to get my kid to the doctor and I need access to a medical record or something really quick, but I just lost my phone and I'm on my way to the dentist or the doctor appointment or whatever it is, right? I can't get into my email account anywhere else without that phone, right? Number one, either it's sending me an SMS code to whatever, so I lost my phone, or there's an app on there. Oh, the app. I could go to another device, install the app, log in, and then, you see, so there's value to using an app for that reason, right? Also, if you get a new device, I don't know if you guys have been through that, where you've set everything up on 2FA and you feel really awesome and, low risk.
That's
and then
a really
you get a new
good point.
phone. You get a new phone and you're like, oh my God, what a hassle. Now I got to go and reset all these 2FA accounts. If you use Google Authenticator, you got to do that because you can't migrate them to a new device. But if you use Authy, you can migrate them really easily. I don't know what Microsoft or some of these other ones do.
1Password.
Or 1Password, right? Or Bitwarden or Dashlane or, LastPass. I mean, they all kind of, that's the nice, I guess my point is, you could piecemeal this all together, or you could just use a password manager and have it all in one place, and to Ben's point, 1Password even has a two-factor authentication app built into it. So your password manager and your, whatever you're using for your codes is
what
in
I
there
love
too.
about 1Password is I autofill, so it autofills the username and the password, and then immediately the two-factor box comes up and says enter your code, and 1Password will have automatically put the code into my what do you call it, the clipboard. Thank you, clipboard. Yep. So all I have to do is Command V, copy paste, or paste, Command V, paste that code, and then I'm in. And then it puts my original pasteboard back. So let's try to do a demo, Wyatt. Let's see if it works.
Yeah,
I know it works, but during a demo, who knows?
Yeah, I'm having a little bit of trouble here getting it to of course, during right now, but let's see.
Oh, share your screen when you're ready.
Yeah, you'll have to allow me to do that.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yes. Let me see here. Allow Wyatt sign. Okay, there you are.
Thank you, sir. All right, so we'll go ahead and share. Where's my Brave browser screen? This one. Just a screen to share. Okay, so yeah, I was trying to get things, like I say, working for Zoom, but let me show you the 1Password interface. If you're using 1Password, any logins where two-factor is available, 1Password generally will alert you and let you know that you don't have it configured through 1Password and that you can. So I wanted to show here how we could do that with Zoom. And so I clicked on Learn How, and it took me to this page, which I believe says generated represents count on Android. Yeah, so it doesn't seem like I'm gonna be able to do it over the web. I'm trying to do it for Google, and the hurdle I hit here is that I'm going into our two-step verification area. Grab the password here. See if it'll allow me. The hurdle I was hitting.
Yeah, click show more options here.
Yeah, go. That it? No, that's not what I want.
It's
wait,
not.
there it was. Hang on, we go back here. Silly Google.
So they're really forcing you to use a phone here.
I guess maybe, yeah, they want to harvest my phone number. Cool. I don't want to give it to them in this one.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, there are some apps like this one where it's either they don't give you the option to use an app at all, or sometimes it's behind a paywall. Typically, it's the entire two-factor. Like you mentioned, Zoom, you have to pay before we're going to let you do the more secure option.
Yeah, and Google, we can also, this is the same with some of the social media platforms. We have to, verify our identity to sign up for an account through something like a mobile number, but then we can remove it later, right?
I think that's what this might be, is it might want my phone number and then it'll let me do it. Although I did,
you just
a while back, I did it without having to put my phone number in.
It continually evolves, and other services are like this too. Some of them are even smart enough to tell when you're giving them a VoIP number and not a true, DID off of a carrier. And so it's going to continue to evolve, and we're just going to have to try to stay hip to it. Because when's the last time you signed up for a Gmail account? I don't remember. I mean, 2004. It's kind of
this is the only outlier I have, Chad. To your point of the last time I signed up was this one. And that's what I thought this is one of the only accounts I have that doesn't have 2FA turned on because I haven't used it since I created it in 2014.
So that's probably a pretty great cross-section. If that's true for you, it's probably true for a lot of people. And this is what they're going to see.
Good point.
Well, here, let's see. I might have found one I could try doing here. I've got an old Dropbox account. Looks like I don't have two-step turned on because I don't use it. So let me try it. Let me try sharing my screen.
Yeah, let's have you try, Ben, because I'm crashing and burning with Zoom and Google here. I apologize to those that are watching.
No, this is great. This is really useful
see if I can
because
take
I
over.
mean, imagine we've got some pretty decent fluency, and if it's this tricky for people with a decent amount of fluency, imagine how challenging this is for everyday folks that don't deal with this every day.
Well, I just
Or
learned that you have to have a
just need
paid
to
Zoom
learn
account to have multi-factor authentication on. That seems silly, but okay. Or maybe you can do it on
That's
iOS.
not
But
the
the
screen.
nice thing that Ben's about to show us is that you don't necessarily have to do all of this through iOS. Through the 1Password desktop app, he'll show you here, hopefully, that you can click scan QR, drag the window over the QR code, and it'll work that way too.
Yeah, so I'm in this old account, Dropbox personal account. And you can see here, actually, I got some old devices 2 years ago. I'm going to kill that, unlink. iPhone 10, that's also a year ago. That's an old, I don't have that anymore, unlink. 8 months ago, Mac OS 10. Might as well kill that. And then in my current session.
Kill them all. Oh, yeah, that's good.
Yeah. What's this?
But this is great. This is really great.
Yeah, let's remove that. There's a problem. Okay, I don't know what that is.
Check out connected. Check out connected apps for a second, and just make sure that's clear. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I got one in here. Updraft.
Yeah, maybe
disconnect.
Yeah, maybe disconnect that. Yeah.
Disconnect.
Excellent.
Okay, so I'm in Dropbox. I'm going to security. I'm going to try this again. Remove contacts.
Excellent.
Anyway, that's not going away. But here's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this two-step verification. Requires security key or code in addition to your passcode. So I'm going to turn this on, and it walks me through some information. It adds an extra layer. I could learn more, and it's going to give me articles similar to what Wyatt showed for Zoom. And this is where it gets overwhelming. People just shut down, like, what am I doing here? They've got lots of instructions. It just goes on and on and on. I know it's intimidating, but let's get past it. Let's skip that. Let's get started, see what happens. Okay, so they want me to verify my password before I go any further, and that's fine. I'm going to go here, grab my password from 1Password, paste it in, say next. Okay, here we are. Use text message or use a mobile app. I'm going to use a mobile app. I'm going to say next.
That's preferred. Yeah.
Yeah. And here's the barcode that I was looking for, which makes it super easy. It's not always required or presented, or it doesn't always work. Well, in fact, we'll see if it works here. But barcode is nice because if I go to 1Password, now, you know what? I need to share my entire screen for everyone to see what I'm doing.
I just want to clarify.
Cool. Good idea.
Real quick. That wording sometimes can throw folks off where it says use mobile app. Even though it says that, all that's doing is generating that QR code. With 1Password, you can use the desktop app, as Ben's going to show, or the mobile app, but don't let that mobile app dissuade you from continuing on.
Yeah. So what I would typically do here is I'd go back up to my browser, my 1Password, and I'd go into, I'd pin this. Can you guys see this? It's pinned.
Yep.
Okay.
Can you make it a little bigger? Maybe it's kind of hard to read. There you go.
Yeah, I don't know if I can. I know there's a key command to do that, but don't know what it is. To zoom in the screen. And it is presenting me that I have the option for two-factor here. I just haven't done it. So here, it even says scan QR code. So if it presents this is the easiest thing to do. Scan QR code, and then hover it. It turns green. You can see I didn't even quite get it all the way over. It hovered green. It gave me a one-time password, and I should be good to go. So I'm going to click next, and I'm going to copy this. Well, it's about to expire, so I'm going to let it refresh, copy it, and paste it, and say next. And it's enabled. Now, it also suggests I do a backup, which I could do. Can I skip that? It's optional, so I'm going to skip it. It also suggests that I have these backup codes, these are one-time codes. And what I'll often do, I'll copy those and I'll put them here in the
1Password.
In the notes field.
Yep.
And I'll say 2FA 1 time, if I could type backup codes, then I'll paste those in there. And if I want to get really fancy, I could do this markup, which shows down here bold. And then I could even also, if I wanted to, put some stars here, so when I save it, I get these nice little dots. So if I wanted to, that's fine for now. You understand what I'm doing. I'll say next.
Ben, also another option there that's nice for some folks is to do just a screenshot of that little area. You take a JPEG and then just dump that into your 1Password login area. So it's a little bit more visually. There's multiple ways to do it, but that's well
you
done.
could do that too.
And most sites do give you backup codes after you after you set it up.
And actually, because I'm doing this as a demo and sharing this and recording this, I will go back and turn that off and turn it back on to regenerate new codes, so that nobody can get my one-time code and break into my account if they happen to also get my passcode. So
Ben, do you want to show folks how clean it is to log in now that you have that?
Yeah. So here I am. It's active. I'm going to log out, and we'll try logging in. And sometimes some browsers, they remember what's going on. So let's see if this works. But I'm going to say autofill, sign in. Okay, there's the code. I'm going to pasted the code. I'm also going to say trust this computer, so I don't need to continually entering that code every time. But yeah, there it is. We just did it. We did it, guys. We did it.
Well done.
Okay, well done. And we're at our 15 minutes, so we're going to end it right there. I will show one other thing, because this is where it gets tricky. Is if I'm going to pin this again, if we didn't get that friendly prompt to produce the barcode scanner, this is where I wish 1Password would improve their interface a bit, because it's kind of confusing. You basically need to go to a new section, which is right here, and choose one-time password, and it creates the barcode scanner for you right here. I'm going to kill that because I already have it up here. I don't need it. But I did find a video. I'm not going to save. Don't save. So I did find a video, and let me see if I can find that here. Welcome to 1Password. Yeah, let me grab this.
Hey, I got to jet a little guy to his ortho appointment. I will catch up with you guys next time. Thanks for listening. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, I will find this video and put it in the notes when we post it. There's a video that 1Password has that does a nice demonstration of how to use that code if they don't prompt you, and I'll make sure that gets in the recording. So otherwise, over and out, unless we have any questions. Michelle, do we have any questions? Shut up. Did I miss any? No.
I think you got them all, Ben.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll keep drilling home the idea that 1Password is great, two-factor is critical, and using them together is fantastic. So we'll see you next week. Okay.